right, motherfuckers. That was fucking brand new Solitary right there, man, on the Zach Moonshine show. Kicking fucking ass, dude. Tell you what, let's call Richard Sherrington from Solitary up right now and see what the fuck is going on in his world, man. All right, motherfuckers. Zach Moonshine here. I think we got things fixed, and I got Richard on the air with me. Dude, Richard, what's going on, man?
Well, obviously, once we've got over the Skype problem, I'm going to be talking about heavy metal with you, I hope, Zach.
Hell yeah, dude. So aside from the technical fucking issues of Skype and all that bullshit, man, what's going on in your world? What's going on in Solitary?
Well, obviously, we just released the album, I think, a couple of weeks ago, so been really busy, doing interviews and all that kind of stuff, really, either be it Skype interviews or Zoom calls, etc., and also some tech stuff as well. So yeah, it's been a hectic month. So really from September, because that's when all the promo started for the album. We put out a couple of singles first, a couple of videos, and then started on the getting the reviews in and everything. So yeah, it's been a busy few weeks.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I know. I've been wanting to get you guys on the show for a while now, and I gotta say, man, like I've been seeing you guys a lot in my email, in my inbox. I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 different fucking promoters that I'm friends with that I think have sent me different stuff for you guys over the last few months. So you guys have definitely been on the radar, I think, for a lot of different places, man, which is really cool, man. It's cool to see. There's a lot of feedback on it too.
That's good. That's good. It's obviously the guys who look after us, Imperative, they do their own PR campaigns anyway, and signing with Metalville, I think they've got 2 or 3 different PR companies that they work with as well. So that's probably why there's a bit of crossover, but it all helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's cool, man. But you know what, that helps because, like I said, fuck, man, when I'm getting like 100 emails a day, and I'm seeing Solitary a whole bunch of times in there. I'm like, what is this Solitary, man? I need to check this out, and I dig it, man. I really like it, man.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your history? Like, how did the band get started, and how long have you been doing this?
Well, I formed the band in 1994, so 26 years ago. Basically, I'd since been a kid, really. I'd wanted to be in a band, and so I decided to get something together. I kind of left school and started to learn to play guitar, etc. So I knew what I wanted to do. So formed the band in '94, and then obviously we knocked around locally for a couple of years and did a demo in 1996, I think, and it might have 96 or 97, and that we managed to secure a deal with a UK independent label called Holier Than Thou Records, and we put out our first album in 1998, and then really we toured that around the UK. They were only a small label, but they did what they could for us, and unfortunately we got into quite a bit of debt because we were under the impression that we were signed to a label and it was just going to happen. So we were accepting gigs and shows all over the country that really we weren't breaking even and we were losing money, but we were kind of under the impression that it'll be okay because the next thing will happen and it will happen. Anyway, it didn't. So we basically amassed about probably £5,000 or £6,000 worth of debt, and back then, we were only being kids. Well, we weren't kids, we were in our early 20s. We didn't have jobs that could pay that off. So basically, it took us about 4 years to get out of that in terms of paying that money back, and then we recorded another album in 2008. We reissued the first album, Nothing Changes, in 2004, and then we did another album in 2008. I think we did a live album in 2013 or 14, and then Diseased Art Society came out in 2017, and then we've done a couple of other bits and pieces. 2018, 2019. I think we did an EP last year, and then obviously the new album, The Truth Behind the Lies. So yeah, it's been a busy few years really since 2015. We've not really stopped. Well, apart from but now this lockdown's happened. That's really the first break we've had from playing shows for five or 6 years.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was reading the promo, and it was I was reading over. It says that you worked with producer Simon Efemi from
Yeah,
Napalm Death, Paradise Lost, Obituary, Amorphous. What was that like? Can you tell us about that?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's the second time we've done an album with Simon. We did the last album, the Diseased Heart Society, with him. So we struck up a real good friendship with him when we did that, and he sort of said to us, I kind of like what you're doing. So we'd sent him I originally got in touch with him. I'd sent him the first couple of albums, and he said, "Let me have a listen, and I'll see if it's what I like, and if it is, we'll work something out." So I sent them to him, and he was keen to do something. So we did the last album with him, but he sort of said at the time, "I want to kind of do with you what I did with Paradise Lost," which was, they did the first album, not the first album, I think it was Shades of God they did with him first, and you can hear how they developed as a band and how their sound developed over, the subsequent albums that came out after Icon and Draconian Times, and he said, "I want to do the same with you." So, and you can kind of hear that happening, I think, when you sort of listen to how different this album sounds to the last one. So I suppose this is if you're comparing the Paradise Lost albums that he did and ours, this is our Icon album. So hopefully the next one will do what Draconian Times did, and we'll sell 1 million copies in Germany or something like that. That'd be nice anyway.
Hell yeah, man. I see you guys also played at Bloodstock Open Air, man. What was that like?
Oh, that was brilliant because it was our 25th anniversary last year. So to actually, have that as really our anniversary show, well, we classed it as that because it was the biggest thing that we did last year. It was phenomenal. And there's only really Donington and Bloodstock, which are the two major UK festivals. So to get the opportunity to be asked to play, well, to get on that, rather than going through a competition or whatever, but to actually be asked, it was the culmination of 25 years of hard work, I think. So yeah, it was brilliant. We'd been out to the Czech Republic a couple of weeks before a smaller festival, so that kind of prepped us for the big stage and everything. So we were raring to go. So yeah, it was a brilliant day, a brilliant weekend, really.
Hell yeah. Looking back on your career so far, is there anything that's like that sticks out in your mind? Some kind of crazy, what's the most craziest thing that you've seen at a live show?
Oh, well, this is true. This and funnily enough, it goes back probably, I don't know, probably about 20, 21 years or something. We were playing a show in Preston, which is our hometown. And it was like an all-day event, and we were kind of like the headline act because back then, and it was a relatively large venue, so there was it was like a student venue, so there's people coming in. Obviously, there's loads of metalers there to watch us, and there was when we kicked off, and I think halfway through the set, it all got a bit exciting for the people who were watching us, and there was a guy who was just dressed in just like a shirt and pants, not metal or anything, and he was really into it in the middle, punching the air and everything. So we thought it was we were having a good day, and then we kind of left the gear there overnight, and then we were loading out the next day, and it about 3 o'clock in the afternoon he sort of showed up, and he said have I left my bag anywhere? I left my plastic bag here last night. So I think Gaz at the time, or whoever said, like, what's in your bag? So he said, just my Bible. So he was like one of these street preachers who'd coming off the street and just been bang into it, and lost his shit really to what we were doing. So yeah, that's probably one of the highlights, that I can think of from back yesteryear.
Oh yeah, man. Uh, and I was looking down in here, and it says that you guys are friends with Lawnmower Death, man. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. We played a show with them. I think it's 2010. They sort of came back, kind of in the about probably about 10, 10 or 11 years ago. They got asked to play. Um, I think it was Download. They were asked to play, and so they were just doing a warm up show. So um, basically, the guy who put the show on knew us, and he wanted us to open. So we said we would do. So we kind of got on that show, but it was really funny because Lomo were just coming back and hadn't played for years and didn't have any gear, so they ended up using all our gear. They had no drum kit, no bass rig or anything, so they went through all our stuff. So and then we've kind of kept in touch with them, and yeah, we did that one just before, Christmas a couple of years ago, which was a Christmas show. Again, they invited us to do that, so that was really cool. That was a great show. That.
nice. Yeah, I remember those guys from the Grind Crusher compilation.
Yeah.
I got that CD when I was in fucking high school, man, and I remember that turned me on to a bunch of different bands at the time. I think Morbid Angel was on there, and Bolt Thrower, and
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
Yeah. I was never really into the death metal kind of thing, so it wasn't really my thing. That so it hit when just before I sort of started playing in solitary and everything. But I know at the time we were the only band, in our area that were playing the sort of music that we were playing. Everybody else was doing sort of death metal stuff because it was huge then.
Yeah.
So, but it's quite strange how it's sort of come around, and that thrash is big again. It's good.
Oh, it's fucking huge, man. Speaking of thrash, what can you tell us about your influences? Like, what got you into metal, and what got you, what brought you to where you are now? Like,
I think like most kids, I got into metal when I was sort of 12 or 13. Bands like sort of Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, that kind of thing, and
yeah,
and then it would have been about 86, 87. So around that time, that's when all the thrash stuff was really kicking off. So you kind of progressed, or you get into heavier things, and so the next thing would have been Metallica and Slayer and Anthrax and everything, and I just loved it. Testament as well. We're a massive fan of Testament, and then there was obviously the Zentrix come from Preston as well, and I won a competition to meet them when I was 14 or 15, and that was it really. That day was the thing that set me on the path to say, right, I need to be in a band. I have to experience this again. So it was that really, I think. So probably I'd say the Bay Area stuff was a huge influence on how we not probably play songs, but write and compose songs. And then the UK thrash stuff as well. Bands like Zentrix, Sabbath, and Slammer and Onslaught and stuff. They were big influences as well.
hell yeah, man. That is cool. You know, it makes me think. Like so many of us that come from that same, so many of us come from that same path of
Yeah.
what you just mentioned. Like where you start off with the glam rock, or like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and
Mm.
stuff like that, and then it just led into Metallica and the heavier stuff like that, and it just I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many bands I've talked to that have told me that same exact path, like even all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I suppose it's the start of things, isn't it? You get a buzz off the guitars and off the sort of gruff voices and that kind of thing. So, that and Bon Jovi had that in comparison to, I don't know, Dire Straits or somebody like that. Perhaps there was just a bit more edge to them, and I suppose you just grow from that because that's the thing that appeals to you. I think there's very few people who sort of just like go from listening to pop music to Napalm Death. You know,
Yeah.
they're quite strange. I think your ears become attuned to it over the years. You know, so
Yeah,
like I
totally.
said, like I was saying, I didn't really like death metal back in '93, but I don't mind some stuff of it now. You know, I quite like it. You know, I hated Carcass when they first came out, but I do quite like them now. So that's an indication of how your tastes change over the years.
Yeah, for sure,
It's like,
man.
I suppose it's like beer, isn't it? You know, when you're a kid, you like drinking lemonade, and you know you taste beer and you think it's horrible, but then it's the other way around now, isn't it? As you get older, beer, you don't bother with lemonade.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, and you know the stark differences between some of those bands and some of those styles of rock and metal too. It's so different, but yet at the same time, it's on the same trajectory. You know, like I mean,
Yeah.
for me, my first concert was Bon Jovi when I was fucking like 8 years old, man. Back in '86, I think it was. And
Wow.
then the next concert I went to, I was 15, and it was Slayer, and it was totally different. But it was like, you know, that was the path. You know, it just got heavier and heavier and more crazy. But like you tell that to kids nowadays that are just getting into heavy music, and they're like, "What the fuck?" You know, like they can't even comprehend that.
Yeah, true. But I suppose it was a different learning curve as well, wasn't it? You know, because it was a case of you got a copy of an album on a tape or whatever, or you heard it, and then you got another one off your mate, and that's how you got into it. You know, whereas now I think music's at people's fingertips, isn't it? So you can go and find whatever you want, and I think that's possibly one of the reasons why a lot of the thrash stuff has come back around. Yeah, admittedly, a lot of the bands have reformed, but you know, people have kind of, you know, there's that much music available on the streaming platforms that, you know, people come across the old stuff, and it is the best. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
no matter what you say, you know, the whatever Metallica, Slayer, Testament, any of them have done recently, it just doesn't match up to those classic albums.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, and that's why people go back to it, and I think it's a good thing because it's making it acceptable. And I suppose the other thing as well, one of the reasons that it has come back around is because a lot of the fans now have, well, almost grown up, haven't they? You know, they went through the early years and that buzz that they had when they used to go to concerts in the 80s. You know, they're now 20 years older. They've got disposable income. They've got the kids have grown up and stuff, and they're back into it. You know, they're searching for that buzz again. So it's great.
Hell yeah. All right, I got some questions for you coming in from the listeners. Lady Red wants to know how many instruments can you play and what's your favorite?
Only one on the guitar, so I would just say it's that. Yeah, that's the only thing I can play, and obviously I can shout.
Hell yeah. Another question. Titan wants to know whereabouts do you originate from?
I was born in Blackpool, so that's just up the road from Preston, really, about 14 miles away, something like that.
All right. Another question. What's one band you'd really love to tour or jam with if you could play with anybody?
Testament.
Hell yeah. I could see that happening too, man.
Well, I mean, years and years and years ago, when I think when Testament released the Gathering album, they came and did a couple of shows over in the UK. You know, they haven't been over for years. Then they played in London, and they also did one in the Midlands as well. So we went to both of them, and I remember being at the front with our copy of Nothing Changes, and when the set finished, I handed the CD to Eric Peterson, so I know he's heard us.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, so he took it. He said, "Is that for me?" I was like, "Yeah, you take it." You know, so I don't know whether he chucked it out the bus window when they left London. He possibly did, but you know, that's my thing. He's had it, so.
Surely not, man. They seem like pretty cool dudes. I had them on the show earlier this year.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
Yeah, and
brilliant.
their new album is fucking amazing too, man.
I preferred the one before it, to be honest. I think the Brotherhood of the Snake was a stronger album, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. All right, another question for you. Have you ever played in Canada, or would you want to?
I've never played in Canada. No. I suppose the logistics of getting there would be a challenge, but yeah, we'll play anywhere, providing we're not going to lose a fortune doing it, and we can get the visas, etc. So yeah, we'll be up for that. But no, we've not been to Canada.
Especially
Oh,
now, especially nowadays with everything that's going on, man. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know, like what's gonna happen or how it's gonna work coming in the future. But hopefully they'll open things back up eventually.
yeah, I mean, obviously with our the UK with Brexit and everything, I don't even know. I can't even begin to think about what it's going to be like for us to try and get to Europe, etc. So it'd probably be the same as it would be going to the States or Canada. Probably need visas, which is not great, but we've got to do it, haven't we?
Yeah. Another question. Lady Red wants to know: what do you prefer, bubble baths or showers?
Showers, definitely.
No fucking time for bubble baths, huh?
No, I mean we've got no, no, not at all. No, shower in and out.
Hell yeah. Speaking of what's going on right now in the world, like how have you guys been holding up during the pandemic? How's that been affecting you so far?
Uh, I mean, I suppose you've got to put it in context, haven't you? It's inconvenient the fact that we're you're in lockdown situations and you can't do what you normally do. But if you compare, at least nobody's being shot at or anything like that. So I think people have been through a lot worse. And I was saying to my wife tonight, I think, or my brother, somebody tonight, I was saying, well, it's just like being back in the 80s, really, isn't it? There was many an evening in the mid 80s where you had nothing to do and were just hanging around, and it's kind of it's good for kids, my kids to experience that, I think, but it is getting a bit tedious now. But I think it'll come to an end at some point, but who knows? It's been difficult for us as a band because we've not been able to rehearse as much as we used to. Normally we rehearse 2 or 3 times, well, a couple of times a week. And really this year we've only kind of sort of, because we went into lockdown in the UK late March and then came out in July, I think. So we just really rehearsed in July and August, and then unfortunately the northwest of England where we're based, it went into local lockdown in September. So we've only really had 2 months rehearsing this year. So it's been difficult, but it's just a case of making sure that you keep in shape at home, practicing, etc. So that's what we've been doing. I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the same timeline as us here in the U.S. too. Um, and I don't know, like I don't know what's going on right now. It does seem like they probably should lock down. I think at this point here because it's getting insane. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm still, I'm just still pleased that we managed to get the album out,
Oh
because I
yeah.
was really worried that when we got the deal with Metalville, I think in January, or was it? No, it'd have been February. It was in February that they came back and said they wanted to put the album out, and then we literally went into lockdown the month later, and I was convinced that it would all fall through, but no, they were keen to get it out this year. They've got the infrastructure to do it, so and it's doing well. As far as we can tell, it looks like it's doing well anyway.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed, during this whole thing, like all year pretty much, the bands, the record labels and everything, it seems like, it's business as usual as far as putting records out, like there's a lot of albums that have come out this year and everything. It's just the touring is just not able to happen, but like everything else seems to be normal. I don't know, like how that works, and what kind of pressure that probably puts on record labels or how it works, but
I don't think it really changes much for them because they've never really made that much from bands touring anyway. So the bands have always made the money from touring. The labels have they've had to diversify to keep afloat, really, haven't they? With with the demise of CDs, etc. But vinyl's back, isn't it? So I think they're sort of cashing in on that, and I can see why that they've carried on releasing things, because I suppose you've got nothing. People maybe have a bit more disposable income if they're going to buy physical products, because there isn't the festivals to go to, etc. So that's possibly why it's probably been a good time to release things. And the other thing is nobody's got an advantage over anybody. The only advantage that you've got is really, if you've got a strong PR support, etc., that you can get yourself out all over in front of everybody, really. Mm-hmm. So I think I can see why they've done it. I know with metal, they had to go from set. They've got offices, etc., so they had to set up home working, which kind of slowed things down a bit. But it's they seem to be okay.
Yeah, vinyl is definitely pulling a lot of weight, and I mean even cassette tapes are coming back now too.
Yeah. So, yeah, they are. I mean, I think we've sold more vinyl ourselves than we have CDs so far, and that's only on the pre-orders, etc. So yeah, it's definitely back, and it's nice as well, isn't it? It's much nicer to have an LP than
I love it
compact disc. So. Yeah, good.
Another question for you. Titan wants to know what football. Who do you support football-wise?
Everton.
He also wants to know, would you ever consider playing at the Carlisle in Hastings?
Carlisle in Hastings. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. It's one of the ones that our agents talked to us about in the past. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we actually have
fair old way down to Sussex, but we'd have to be down there anyway. So, we'll see.
We have a couple of DJs that spin here on the station that actually work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could hook that up for you, man, if that's.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, when they open back up, yeah, we'll talk. So as I say, our agents in with that venue anyway. So, but yeah, definitely do it. But we'd have to have something else on. It's too far a drive to go there and back in a day.
Hell yeah, man! I'm surely they can put you up or do something. I don't know, man, but we'll find out about that for you.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
As far as this record is concerned, what can you tell us about like the lyrical content? What are these songs about?
Well, it was writing the whole album was a fairly quick process, really, because we were that busy promoting the Diseased Heart Society and doing shows with that. But it was a kind of, we wanted to get another album out within a couple of years of releasing that one. So we sort of started writing it in kind of midway through 2018. So I've only really had about sort of 6 or 8 months to get all the lyrics together, and I was really struggling for lyrical content. So they all kind of seem to follow the same sort of theme, which is all about having good inner strength, and because there's a lot of mental health issues in the world today, and so I kind of focused on that a bit about it doesn't affect me. I'm quite lucky in that respect, but how people deal with that, and then the knock-on effect of having to every day being a battle, really. And then there's other songs on it as well that are about the sort of the Brexit farce that we've had in the UK, the Brexit campaigns and everything. So there's one about that, and I'm trying to think what else there is. Yeah, there's one about how sort of two different viewpoints. I think the second track, "The Dark, the Resilient," is about how somebody, a victim, and then somebody who commits, and it's an accident, or and somebody's impacted by that. So it's like the victim's view of this accident, and then also the person who commits the accident who refuses to admit that they've got any responsibility for it. So again, that I kind of like tried to look at it from two different ways, really. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag, but around the same sort of grim sort of themes that is pretty much 2019 and 2020.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, the political landscape and like what you said with the mental illness and everything, like nowadays, what's going on right now is just, it's fucking crazy, man. The
Mm.
polarization of everybody, it's so split apart, man. Everything is, you got people on all sides, man, just fucking going at it, man. It just feels like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But I think next time, I'm already sort of thinking about the next album and thinking, right, we'll do something different next time around. So, I'm kind of, I've never really been big on writing songs about murderers or things, people that have pissed me off or that kind of thing. So I might go down that route. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be able to have the talent to write something like Operation Mindcrime, tell a story all the way through like Queensryche did, but I don't
Hmm.
think I can manage that. Sometimes it's just like, well, that sounds good, I'll just sing that.
Oh, it's cool, man. You guys do your own thing for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta ask you about the album art, man. This album has some killer fucking album art on it. Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, yeah. The guy who did it is an artist from the UK called Coot, and he did a lot of the albums in the '90s for bands like The Exploited and who else did he do? The Almighty. I don't know whether you remember them. Some fairly big British bands. I think he did Saxon and some other things as well. So basically, we were looking for somebody to do the artwork for this album, and we decided we wanted to go with a more traditional kind of approach to it because the last one was like a digital thing. And so I basically found Coot, so I sent him a message, and he was very much like Simon. He said, "Well, I tell you what, send me your albums, tell me let me have a listen, and if I like it, I'll give you a shout, because he'd kind of retired from it. So sent him the albums, and yes, he liked it. So we just started chatting, and he was just kind of into the whole story. I mean, he did a piece of he's done two covers for us. He did our EP last year, the XXV EP, and he was kind of bought into the sort of like, we've been around for 25 years, we'd not changed, we'd carried on plugging away, and it was finally starting to happen. So he did like this Shield thing, which was the cover for that EP, and then this time around he just really took the lyrics for the title track and a couple of the other songs, and he basically came up with the concept himself. But both covers are actually airbrushed. They're proper paintings, they're not done digitally in Photoshop or anything like that. So it's made it quite difficult doing the shirts, etc., for it, because obviously it's one piece of art. There's no separation there. So, but yeah, that's the story of that. Really, we dragged him out of retirement to do our covers, but I think it really matches the sound of the album as well. I think it works well.
Hell yeah. Got another question for you from the listeners. Who is your favorite singer, dead or alive?
Chuck Billy at Testament, I would say.
Hell yeah. Chuck Billy's fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
He is. I remember when I was interviewing him, I asked him because it had always been on my mind. Like whenever I first listened to Souls of Black, they were one of the first thrash metal bands that I had ever heard that used different, like where he growled. He growled on a couple of tracks in
Yeah,
there.
he did. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he later on ended up doing it a lot more, and I was trying to ask him about that. Like, was that did he think, like, I don't know, like, how did that happen? And he was just telling me that it was sort of like a natural thing that just sort of happened. But
Yeah, I can't do that. I tried, but I just can't pull it off. But I think he was even doing that sort of that style of vocal on Reign of Terror, which was on the on the demo, that Zietro did, and there's definitely a a version of it with him singing, and he's doing that sort of lower death metal type voice. I mean, to me, I think he does it better than anybody else. The lower stuff, I can't think of anybody who can do it better than him.
He does, and he does it in like specific times where it really it counts. Like, you know, it's like it adds to the heaviness of the music
Yeah.
in you know, not just doing it for the hell of it. Like, he's actually doing it in a, I don't know, in an almost instrumental way. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he can sing, man. Like, you know, and the ballads too. Like, they have really good ballads too.
Yeah.
I guess you could
Yeah.
call them ballads.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not really ballads, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought they were seemed a bit contrived to me. Maybe the first one, I don't know. I'm not sure. They just, I think it was a Metallica thing. That I think if Metallica never put a ballad on any of their albums, Testament probably wouldn't have either. But I don't know. It was a Skolnick, wasn't it? It was Skolnick who pushed them down that route, really.
It did kind of seem that way back in those days. Like, I remember
Yeah.
when, you know, when Metallica threw a couple of them on the record, then, you know, like all the other bands that were in the similar genre sort of did sort of the same thing, you know. But I was always wondering about it. I should have asked him about that.
Yeah, he wouldn't have admitted it. He wouldn't have said, no, we want to be like them.
Another question for you. What's your favorite horror movies?
Oh, to be honest, I'm not really into horror movies. But I always liked Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought they were good. And I think the only one that ever really made me sort of jump was Poltergeist. I think Poltergeist 2 or 3. Yeah, so no, I'm not a big horror movies kind of guy.
What kind of movies do you watch?
I like the war stuff, really. You know, Rambo's and that kind of thing. Anything with a bit of violence in it, you know,
Oh, yeah.
bit of shooting, that sort of thing.
Hell yeah. Another question. Favorite booze to drink, if you do?
Lager. So yeah, anything lager, like San Miguel or something like that from Spain.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let your fans know?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me on the show. You know, thanks for the questions and stuff, and thanks for everybody who's listening to the album, and you know, spread the word. Let's hope more people can get into it, and you never know, we might get out to Canada or Hastings.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, before I let you go, I got to get you to make us a station tag. All right.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, say something like "This is Solitary," and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
This is Rich from Solitary, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm going to play some more Solitary for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy. And we'll talk to you later, man.
Nice one. Cheers, Zach. All right, take care.
Cheers, man.
Have a good evening. See you, man. Bye.
There you have it, folks. Solitary live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them wherever the fuck you can. Make your neighbors fucking angry. Make them fucking move, dude. This is Solitary.